Welcome, vintage Star Wars fans. Today we're going back to 1983 when collectibles were crossing strange new frontiers. Not quite a toy and not exactly high-tech, but definitely something you would not expect to find on your parents' desk. And yet, someone made it. A Darth Vader speakerphone. It's the kind of piece that makes you stop and wonder, was this actually real? Turns out it was, and not just real, but proudly featured in catalogs and electronics stores across the country. Some collectibles demand the spotlight, others lurk in the background as if they were never meant to be noticed. But this one? It did both, boldly and with speaker capabilities. By the early 1980s, novelty phones were ringing their way into pop culture. There were lips you could talk through, cheeseburgers with dials under the bun, and even bananas pretending to be handsets. Phones were becoming more than just utility. They were statement pieces. Answering the call of this growing craze, American Telecommunications Corporation, known as ATC, specialized in creating character-themed phones that captured the pop culture spirit of the times. From Kermit the Frog and Snoopy to Winnie the Pooh, ATC's lineup was colorful, fun, and designed to bring personality to an everyday household item. Based in the United States and active throughout the 1980s, details about the company's full history are limited, but they clearly had a knack for tapping into popular trends. Their 1983 Darth Vader speakerphone may be their most iconic release. Though how they landed a licensing deal with Lucasfilm remains unclear, the final product speaks for itself. At the time, licensed Star Wars merchandise was booming, and phones, oddly enough, were part of the wave. With the Darth Vader phone, ATC produced a showpiece which was part collectible, part conversation starter, and part functional telephone. I didn't know anything about any of that at the time. My connection to it started with a surprise. All I knew was that sometime around Christmas, or maybe it was my birthday, my dad gave me a phone shaped like Darth Vader himself, standing tall with his hands on his belt. It came packed in a rectangular box with bold red and black speckled artwork, the same artwork Lucasfilm used for its original Revenge of the Jedi teaser prints. My dad worked in telecommunications, so this is likely how it came onto his radar. I certainly wasn't expecting it and didn't even know it existed. But once I had it, it felt like a strange, wonderful bridge between the Star Wars galaxy and everyday life. It wasn't just another Star Wars toy, it felt grown up, like something that belonged on a desk, but still had a place in my childhood room. And that strange little blend of novelty and sincerity stuck with me ever since. And after all these years, I still have the phone, along with its original packaging. The box itself carries the same visual language that Lucasfilm was using at the time. That bold red and black speckling, utilizing the teaser-style artwork, it's all still there. Worn in places, sure, but unmistakably tied to that early Return of the Jedi era. An era when this box sat under the tree or maybe waited on the kitchen table. Let's take a closer look. Before we even get to the speakerphone itself, the box is already doing a lot of heavy lifting. Bold diagonal lettering screams Darth Vader, while stylized artwork of his duel with Luke Skywalker evokes the climactic duel on Cloud City. The colors are unexpected, fiery reds and glowing purples bursting from a smoky black void. It's unmistakably Star Wars, but filtered through a late 80s design lens. Each side of the box seems to serve its own function. The front panel focuses on the epic confrontation, framed in stark black with magenta accents. On the side panels, key features are listed in bold, slanted stripes: on-off switch, volume control, microphone mute, and last number redial. The right side also displays the manufacturer, American Telecommunications Corporation, a division of ComDial, alongside the country of origin, made in Hong Kong. The back panel strips things down to a sharp, two-tone Vader figure looming over his numeric keypad, almost like a Star Wars-themed security system. It's pure pop culture branding, but just restrained enough to feel like tech. And for collectors, seeing the original ATC logo and model number in place makes this packaging a time capsule from the analog frontier of licensed electronics. There's a lot of personality in this packaging. Bold reds, dynamic type, and Vader locked in a lightsaber duel right on the side of the box. But before we open it up, let's rewind just a bit. During the early 1980s, novelty phones were becoming a holiday gift staple. One ad that ran in regional newspapers around Christmas time paired the Vader speakerphone with a reclining Kermit the Frog and a lamp shaped like a genie's bottle. Even in a lineup without color, Vader still managed to stand apart. Rigid posture, dark bass, silent presence. You got the sense it wasn't just another phone, it was making a statement. But ComDial didn't just rely on pop culture alone. In one full-page article-style advertisement, they leaned heavily into the phone's functional edge. High-fidelity speaker clarity, full duplex communication, and no push-to-talk required. Just speak and be heard. The tone of the piece felt more like a trade magazine than a toy flyer. If anything, they were courting tech-savvy adults, not just kids or collectors. And now, stepping out of the ads and into the real world, let's take a look at the phone itself. The Sculpt, the surface, and those premium features the article was so eager to highlight. Standing at nearly 14 inches tall, the Darth Vader speakerphone isn't just a novelty, it commands the space it's in. Whether it was perched on an office desk or tucked away in a collector's display, it always had a presence. The sculpting is surprisingly detailed for a piece of tech from the early 1980s. The cape has subtle texture, the chest panel is cleanly molded, and the helmet, while stylized, still reads unmistakably as Vader. But the helmet isn't perfect. From some angles it looks spot on, from others it feels a little off. Still, it's definitely passable, and in my personal opinion, it's a stronger sculpt than the one used for Kenner's 12-inch action figure. The materials are basic plastic but not overly brittle. Mine has held up well over the years with no major fading or warping. The entire unit feels more like a prop than a phone, especially when it's not plugged in. The keypad sits at the base, almost like a little control deck from the Death Star. Each button has a cushioned tactile feel to it, and although it's clearly retro, it doesn't feel cheap. You didn't have to press a button each time you wanted to speak. Once the call was active, it worked in full duplex, just like a standard handset. You toggled calls with a dedicated on-off button at the base, which effectively replaced the action of lifting or replacing a phone receiver. Full duplex might sound simple and a bit standard now, but with these novelty speakerphones it was a big deal at the time. In addition to that, the phone had volume control, a mute function, and surprisingly clear speaker fidelity. This wasn't a gimmick. It was a real phone that happened to be shaped like Darth Vader. And like the ad suggested, it wasn't just aimed at kids. This was designed to turn heads in a meeting room or make a statement in a home office. That blend of utility and fandom was rare for the time, and it's part of what makes this piece feel so unique today. It's certainly not perfect. There's no separate handset, so it functions more as a desktop speakerphone than a traditional phone. But that's what I love about it. It bridges the line between Star Wars collectible and working technology in a way very few items ever have. The manual covers the basics without overcomplicating anything. Setup, the optional power supply, even speaker and mute controls. Let's take a look and see how it all works. To place a call, you just press the on-off switch. You'll hear that familiar dial tone, and a red light in Darth Vader's chest will light up, letting you know it's ready. Then, you can dial your number. Once the other party answers, your conversation can begin. You can even adjust the speaker volume by turning the control knob in the direction indicated. When you're all done with your call, just press the on-off switch again, and that red light in Vader's chest will turn off. To answer an incoming call, simply press the on-off switch and start talking. To end that call, you press the on-off switch one more time. The phone also has two handy features. First, there's the last number dialed or LND button. The telephone number you last dialed is automatically stored in the phone's memory. If you want to call that number again, just press the LND button. When you dial a new number, the old one gets erased and the new number is stored. The second feature is the mic mute button. When you press and hold this, all sound from your end is cut off from the person listening. This is super useful if you need to speak with others in the room without the person on the other end hearing your conversation. The manual also mentions an optional AC adapter. If your speaker or microphone volume seems too low, or if the red light on Vader's chest isn't lighting up, that's your cue to pick one up from your local dealer. For maintenance, the manual outlines simple steps like cleaning with a soft, damp cloth and mild detergent. It specifically cautions against abrasive cleaners, submersion, or drenching due to the non-waterproof design. It also recommends avoiding direct sunlight to prevent fading and explicitly states not to open the case, deferring service needs to page 9. While we won't be reading every detail of the manual, let's finish flipping through it to see the rest of what's inside. Here we have an intact registration card to partake in the warranty service. Simple, but fun to see again after all these years. And that pretty much does it for the manual. And as for the cord, it's nothing flashy, just a standard phone cable from the era. But in terms of completeness, having the original one still tucked away feels like a win. This Darth Vader speakerphone isn't just a unique piece, it's a little time capsule from my past, carrying memories of a time long ago. After all these years tucked quietly away, it feels right to give it some care, a gentle cleaning to clear off fingerprints and dust. Like dusting off a forgotten treasure, it's a way to honor its history, and maybe, just maybe, prepare it for whatever may lie ahead. This phone has been stored in its original box since the early 80s, and while I've kept it safely tucked away from sunlight and damage, today I'm giving it one final polish before it goes back into long-term storage. Nothing fancy, just a gentle wipe with a soft, damp polishing cloth. No chemicals, no abrasives. The goal here isn't restoration, it's preservation. Once cleaned, I place the phone back into its original plastic bag to protect it from dust. The coiled telephone cord gets its own plastic sleeve, just a small way to keep it from getting tangled or worn over time. And the instruction manual goes into a protective document sleeve to keep the paper from yellowing or creasing. I should mention, the phone was fully functional when I placed it into the box decades ago, and while I no longer have a landline to test it, there's no reason to think it doesn't still work. The components were solid even back then, and it was working perfectly the last time it was used. Once everything's safely packed, I cover the box with a custom-fit protective case from Katana Collectibles, same kind I used on the Yoda board game. It shields the original packaging without adding unnecessary bulk. There you have it. The box fits snugly inside and stays well protected, without obscuring any of its original character. From there, I wrap the whole thing in jam tissue paper to keep the protective cover from scuffing or fogging over time. And finally, I wrap the entire bundle in standard shipping paper and label the outside, so I know exactly what's inside the next time I revisit this piece. Because preserving a collectible isn't just about the item itself. It's about the care, the context, and the quiet rituals we create to keep the past alive. And that's the story of my Darth Vader speakerphone. Part pop culture oddity, part functional tech and all heart. It was never the centerpiece of my collection, but it never needed to be. It just had to sit there, quietly reminding me of a time when Star Wars was everywhere, even on the end of a phone line. It's not just about the sculpt or the packaging, it's about preserving the connection to a memory, to a moment, and to the people who helped make those moments happen. And that brings us to the end of another episode. Thank you for joining me as I explored this unique piece from the vintage Star Wars galaxy. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. There's plenty more to come. Until next time, keep on collecting and may the Force be with you.